Hello. Welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews. Don't do unboxings, but we might do a few playthroughs in the near future. But today we are talking about a cooperative tile laying game that is based on a very popular video game. We're talking about Dorf Romantic, the board game, not the bloody video game. And in this game, you will be taking tiles from a stack. You'll be placing these tiles, trying to complete various tasks that will allow you to unlock achievements and progress, and I suppose win the game. So in this video, we're going to be giving you a very brief overview of the rules. We'll tell you what we do like, what we don't like. Then we'll come back and we'll tell you whether or not Dorf Romantic is worth your time and bother today and in the future. So remember, if you are new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel. Hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. See you after this. Bollocks. So, Dorf Romantic, how'd you play this game? So Dorf Romantic is a kind of legacy style tile laying game, yeah? To set up, you're going to have various stacks of tiles, one with two different types of tiles in them, right? You're going to have landscape tiles and you're going to have task tiles, right? On your turn, you will draw a tile and you will decide where to place it. On the first 3 turns of the game, you must reveal a task tile, right? And on subsequent turns, you can reveal and place a landscape tile, and you can only reveal a task tile if there's fewer than 3 task tiles in play, right? The fundamental rule, according to the rulebook, is that tiles must always be placed in a single connected group of tiles, yeah? Tracks and streams must be connected together, yeah? So you can't just have a railway track on its own in the middle of fucking nowhere. But forest, grain and meadow tiles could be placed wherever the fuck you like. You will see that there are task markers on the task tiles, yeah? And this will tell you how many segments of that type must be connected, yeah? So if the task tile says 4 wheat and you've got 4 wheat segments connected on the tiles that are adjacent to each other, then you will complete the task. Once you complete the task, you'll take the task marker, and these are really important when it comes to final scoring, yeah? Every time you complete a task tile, you'll have to replace it by drawing another task tile, yeah? There's also flags on some of the tiles, and you'll only gain points for these if they are completely closed off, right? So the game ends immediately when you have to reveal a landscape tile and there's none left, and you'll now calculate your end of game points, yeah? There is a big fuck off score sheet, yeah? It drives me up the fucking wall, and you're going to go through that from top to bottom, getting points for stuff like calculating the total for all completed task markers for each landscape tile and enter the sum in the corresponding spaces, and you'll count how many tiles are the longest track and the longest stream, yeah? On the far right, you enter the grand total points for flags, the longest track and the longest stream. And after you have attempted to kill yourself via death by score sheet, you will then tear your fucking hair out by going to the campaign sheet. You'll enter your score in the high score list. You'll be given a certain number of points to like wander up a track, and it might give you unlocks and stuff like that, because there's boxes in there that you'll be able to get extra tiles and shit, and there's achievements and stuff that you can get, and eventually, after God knows how many fucking hours you're going to spend playing this, you will eventually complete Dorf Romantic and breathe a huge fucking sigh of relief at the fact you are not dead yet. So what do we like about Dorf Romantic? So the first thing that we like about Dorf Romantic is it is a non-destructive legacy game, i.e. it can be reset, yeah? Games like Risk Legacy, you're going to be tearing up cards, you can be writing on the board and all that shit. But in this, you're going to unlock a few boxes, and if you get sick to death of it like we did, you can just chuck it all back in the box, reset the game, and pass it on to the next unsuspecting fool. I mean, some people have a problem with tearing up cards. When we played Risk Legacy, I was like, fucking hell, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to trash a 40 quid game? I did it anyway because I'm a reckless bastard. But I suppose in a sort of weird sort of way, I'm a bit gutted that you couldn't destroy Dorf Romantic, because it's the sort of game that I'm going to want to destroy anyway. So the second thing that we quite like about Dorf Romantic is that it is beyond simple, yeah? Even someone that identifies as an amoeba, and I'm sure there are people out there that identify as amoebas, could play this game, yeah? It's great for kids. I mean, obviously my children don't have the intelligence of an amoeba, but they were able to play this game, and that is saying something. I'm not saying they enjoyed it, but they didn't have any problem with the rules. It's a piece of piss to play. It takes 5 minutes to explain what to do. Why they gave you such a big flappy rulebook, I have no idea. Half of it is taken up with the bullshit at the end. But for all of those people that are obsessed with retardation, this game is right up your back alley. So the final thing that we quite like about Dorf Romantic is that the quasi leveling up and the achievements sort of bolt on something mildly interesting onto an otherwise mind-numbing chore. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's nothing to to be celebrating here in terms of achievements, but at least you got something to aim for, yeah? You're not just banging your head against the fucking brick Dorf, hoping that someone's going to open the fucking door, right? So I suppose it is clutching at cheese straws, but at least, at the very least, there is something to aim for in this game, right? So what don't we like about Dorf Romantic? So the first thing that we don't like about Dorf Romantic is that A, Stephen Dorff is not in it, and B, there is nothing in it about Necromantic, and there's definitely nothing about Stephen Dorff being in Necromantic either. But the main problem with this is that it gets boring really fucking quickly, yeah? Even with the really slow saline style drip feeding of extra content, it just seemed to us like 1 minute we were unlocking all of this shit and things were flying all over the place, and we were like, fucking hell, there's new tiles and new cards and new shit and there's hearts to put on the board and all that. And then it just dried up like an 80-year-old's gash. Even with the unlocking the extra content and all the achievements and all that shit, I still found myself sort of having a distinct sense of dread when my daughter asked to just play one more game because she wanted to see what would happen, yeah? And that was kind of painful. So the next thing that we don't like about Dorf Romantic is that there is no character in the game. And this is a problem with a lot of games, yeah? And that's the fact that there are no people in the game, yeah? Not that we saw anyway. I'm not a big fan of people. I kind of hate people with a passion, but we had this problem with a game called Dinosaur Island, right? You're opening up a theme park and there's nobody there, yeah? It's just empty, it's devoid of humanity. And it's the same with this. You're laying tiles down, there's a landscape, there's houses, but it feels like it's been abandoned, right? It's kind of eerie, yeah? It's like everyone's died of the plague or abducted by perverted aliens, right? And there's just a sense of desolation and emptiness when I look at this game, yeah? So the final thing we don't like about Dorf Romantic, and I think I might have mentioned this already, but the progression is painfully slow, yeah? It is like hacking off your limbs 1 centimetre at a time with a Stanley blade. Sometimes you get a respite from the pain and suffering by maybe going to sleep for a little bit, yeah? But you know that you're going to have to come back to it and slice another piece of your thumb off because you just need to get to the end of it, right? Get into the conclusion of this game. It was a harrowing experience, right? I didn't like it one little bit. I would rather drink congealed dog vomit than be forced to play through this campaign ever again. So to summarise, is Dorf Romantic worth your time and bother, or will you be drinking congealed dog vomit now and in the future? So we're going to say no. Dorf Romantic is a classic Spiel des Jahres winner, right? Primary school rules, empty gameplay, and a snooze fest style progression. It is fun for the first couple of games, I will admit that, yeah, because you are unlocking stuff, it's all new, and you're sort of thinking, well, where's this game going to go? But like enrolling on a GMVQ, you're going nowhere very quickly. It reminds me of playing Pull a Pig when you went into some sticky floored nightclub, only to wake up next morning when the booze had worn off, lying next to an enormous munter. I get it, this game isn't aimed at me, yeah, it's a family style game, but this is no Carcassonne, right? In fact, I could relegate it down to a whole lot of nothing, because that is what it culminates in. So there you go, that is Dorf Romantic. Remember, if you are new here, please consider subscribing to this channel, hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. We'll see you next time.